Howdy neighbors, David here. And today on Boondock Stallions, we're going to be taking a look at the Baby Yoda and other characters in The Mandalorian and the future of TV series streaming on Disney+. Now, before we get started, go ahead and give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. So, Baby Yoda. Now, I know there was a lot of controversy over the second episode and him eating the unfertilized eggs. I actually have a theory. If you haven't seen it, go check it out on my channel. I'll be putting a link in the cards after I'm done with the stream and I can do all the editing. Anywho, so we've known since the first season that the Mandalorian was charged with taking the child to his kind. Now, obviously, they think his kind is the Jedi. They don't know what species Yoda hails from, or I'm sorry, the Baby Yoda hails from. But it feels like they might end up leaving the Baby Yoda with Ahsoka. And I know Ahsoka's rumored to be getting her own show, and Boba Fett's being rumored to get his own show. And them training the Baby Yoda to become a Jedi or a type of Force user for future generations is actually a really good idea. And setting it up now while the child is still relatively young and cute, the fans will get attached to him, will start to like him, and then in time, when they decide they want to start making more Star Wars movies, trilogies, they might jump ahead in the timeline a few hundred years and see the child having grown up and being in his prime as a Force user. Now, I mean, that'd be a great way to do it because then we'd all have a character we know and are comfortable and familiar with going into. So would that mean that the child is like Ahsoka? In Ahsoka's book, she was collecting small pieces of metal and circuitry, and she didn't know why. She was consciously aware that she was collecting these things and hoarding them, but she was unsure of why she was doing it. And later on, she realized that everything that she'd been collecting was going to help her build her lightsaber. And so, if the child is doing something similar to that, then we've already seen him making his first few collections. That little ball on the Mandalorian ship, he kept taking it. That could be part of his future lightsaber. We'll just have to keep an eye on him and see if he keeps collecting things. Okay, hold on, sorry. It was telling me something about a connection. Nope, we're good. Okay, so a Boba Fett series. Now, if they were in fact to do a Boba Fett series, because like I said, at the end of that episode, the first episode of The Mandalorian, where you see the actor that plays Boba Fett in the desert, it's believed, everybody was theorizing about it. I'm sorry, everybody theorized that it was Boba Fett. I went to imdb.com and confirmed that that character that Tamura Morrison was playing was in fact Boba Fett. So if Boba Fett's going to get a spinoff, is it going to show us him and how he got out of the Sarlacc? Is it going to show us everything that led him up to the Mandalorian, or will we get all of that backstory in the Mandalorian so that when we get Boba Fett's spinoff series, it'll just pick up from there? I mean, technically, the Mandalorian could end up being Boba's own show, because whether or not he is or isn't a Mandalorian is still up in the air for Disney to make canon. So we don't know if he is or isn't. I mean, technically right now, I'm pretty sure the general consensus is that he isn't a true Mandalorian, but Disney could change that anytime they want. And if, say, this recent controversy with Pedro Pascal gets any more heated, I guess is what I'm looking for, then we may in fact need a new Mandalorian to follow on the Mandalorian. I mean, I know he is our prime Mandalorian. We've all grown to know and love him, but I mean, they could expand on the universe and follow Boba Fett. They could follow Bo-Katan. There are other Mandalorians out there. Should Pedro Pascal's Mandalorian Din Djarin not be there or get killed or he destroys himself on social media because that looks how it's going to be going. And I'm to understand that they want the Mandalorian and the other shows that are going to be streaming up on Disney Plus to kind of have that Game of Thrones feel where they're setting up the characters in The Mandalorian to go out on their own adventures, and then at some point there will be some major crossover event, such as an Avengers movie or the Crisis on Infinite Earths in the DC universe on CW, which I'm getting to. I'm still behind, but I'm trying to keep up with new content and make videos. And I have a job, and I'm trying to start my own business, so things get a little hectic. And it's fine. It's totally fine. So let me know what you think down in the comments about whether or not there are going to be spin-offs where the characters from The Mandalorian get their own shows and stories and kind of meet up in the way that the Game of Thrones series ran on, because I honestly think that that would be a good way for it to go. And I would really have loved to have seen an Obi-Wan movie, and I know there was a lot of trouble going on back when Solo came out because people were boycotting Solo because of The Last Jedi. And honestly, can we grow up and be mature? You know, I wasn't a fan of a lot of things that went down in the sequel trilogy either, but it's still Star Wars. I still support it. You have to support your fandoms during the good times and the bad times. If you don't believe me, ask my best friend. My best friend still loves and supports Metallica, everything that they do, and I'm not saying you should. Metallica's an awesome band, but he's got the Saint Anger album. Gross, right? And so, I mean, he understands being loyal to your fandom, and even there are dark times now in the Disney trilogy. We're starting to see light in The Mandalorian, because I don't know about you guys, Bo-Katan was awesome. Oh, see, there's my best friend now in the comments. Thank you for watching, douche. So the spin-off shows and being loyal to your fandom is just a great and awesome way to keep these things going, because I know that Disney took everything that we loved and turned it into legends, and now it is no longer canon. But give them a little bit of time to make the adjustments they need, and they're going to have more content being made by people who are fans, people that grew up watching Star Wars and reading Star Wars and going to Comic-Cons and Halloween dressed up as Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker and, God forbid, Jar Jar Binks, because we love Star Wars. And now these fans will be the new generation of writers for Lucasfilm, telling stories that they dreamed about when they were kids. And that's awesome. It's a new way to keep things fresh. And I honestly, once again, if anybody watching can show me on the doll where Disney and Lucasfilm ruined your childhood, I'd really like to know. I'm certain it's probably here on the tail end of Lord Vader. But your childhood's fine. Disney and Lucasfilm are listening to all of our complaints, because we did a lot of complaining, and they're trying to fix things. So let's hope that they can get things going and maybe course correct some of the mistakes that were made during the sequel trilogy. And I'll be releasing a video either tomorrow night or Sunday night. I'm kind of busy and trying to get all of the editing together. It's a long one. I went ranting for about 35 to 45 minutes. And so it's a friendly fire video. And when I say friendly fire, we're going to be talking about everything about the sequel trilogy that everybody hated, and maybe theorizing on where it should have gone, where it could still possibly go, and some thoughts and theories of my own that I'd had from day one waiting for The Force Awakens to The Rise of Skywalker. And so keep an eye out for that. Be excellent to each other, and party on, dudes.